gastroesophageal junction. Okay? Over here on the left, notice this epithelium. What kind of epithelium is that? That's stratified squamous epithelium. It actually looks a lot like your epidermis, right? So that's the esophagus. But at this point where they drew a line, notice how the epithelium is changing. Now you're into the stomach. Okay? Now you have those gastric pits and things, and I'll show you a better picture of that in a second. But now you're into the stomach. So that's the actual spot. You know, this would roughly be where your lower esophageal sphincter is. The epithelium is going to change, okay? As I said in class, the stomach is the only microscope slide that you're expected to know that has a stratified squamous epithelium. So if I show you that and you notice stratified squamous, you know, you should say, oh, that's stomach, because, you should say, oh, that's esophagus, because I'm not showing you any other examples. Only the esophagus has the stratified squamous epithelium. This is another picture of the esophagus. Okay, here would be the stratified squamous epithelium. Right, so number 2 represents the stratified squamous epithelium. Right below it, where number 3 is, that would be the lamina propria. That's the connective tissue layer. Number 4 is the muscularis mucosa. All right, so 2, 3, and 4 together are what make up the mucosa. 5 is the submucosa. You can see a lot of the circular things. Those are going to be some glands. 6 is the muscularis layer, and they're showing you 6A is meant to represent the circular layer, and 6B is the longitudinal layer. And then the outer layer here shown in 7, this would be adventitia, because the esophagus is in the thoracic cavity. It would be called adventitia. Quickly. More esophagus, very quickly. Stratified squamous epithelium, lamina propria, muscularis mucosa, submucosa, muscularis layer, and then it actually looks like they sort of removed the adventitia. You're not even really seeing it there. Here's stomach. Okay. These little things that are going down here, those are the gastric pits. And the gastric pits would continue all the way down, and as they go all the way down, they form gastric glands. However, this is a case where, you know, unless you cut the slide perfectly, you may not see this going all the way down. So instead, you're just going to see a series of circles at the bottom. The circles would be the gastric glands then, whereas these things that you don't see going down are the gastric pits. Filling in the space between them, that again is lamina propria. This thing going across down here would be the muscularis mucosae, and then this area down here would be the submucosa, and that's about all you can see on this slide. Here's a little bit, here this slide showing you a little bit more. Okay, so again, these little things that are going in from the surface, those would be gastric pits. The circles themselves are gastric glands. The stuff filling in the spaces up here in between, that's the lamina propria. This thin line going across here is the muscularis mucosae. This area is the submucosa. This is the muscularis layer. And then down here would be like the serosa, or the peritoneum. More stomach, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, gastric pits up here. The circular things at the bottom are the gastric glands. It's kind of tough to see the lamina propria, but it's basically filling in the spaces. This thin line going across is the muscularis mucosae, submucosa, muscularis layer, and then this thin thing just on the outside would be the serosa. This is the small intestine. Specifically, this is the duodenum. It sort of looks like the stomach at first. The only thing I can tell you is look at the projections. They're more finger-like when you're in the duodenum. They don't, you know, compare between the gastric pits and the gastric glands. These things look more finger-like. The V up there is for villi. So there's the epithelial layer. The stuff in the inside would be the lamina propria. It's pretty small, but this little line going across here would be the muscularis mucosae. All of this stuff inside here would be submucosa, specifically glands. That's what the G's for. There's a lot of glands in the duodenum. They actually have a name. They're called Brunner's glands. Okay, so that's what's there. This then would be the muscular layer. There's an inner circular layer and then an outer longitudinal layer. And on the outside, barely see it. It's not. I don't even, it looks like they took it off. Would be the serosa. This is just a close-up showing you some of the villi up close. All right. So the outer part is the epithelial layer. Stuff inside would be the lamina propria. What are these circular things again? Those are more goblet cells. All right. Remember, goblet cells are all over the place. You have them in the respiratory tract. You have them in the digestive system. Where's this from? Yeah, your pancreas. The pancreas, your little buddy, the pancreas. Here's the islets, the Langerhans. What are all the other little things called? The acini. Right? This guy, you've never seen this before, but this is what the liver looks like. Yes, I know it's not a perfect like hexagon, but it's not bad, right? This thing in the middle is the central vein, right, that you're going towards. If you look in the corners, that's where you find those three things, what's called the portal triad. Now in this picture, it's not real good, but I have a little bit of a close-up, I think. Not too much better, but you can see like they pointed to one portal triad down there. Let me show you a super-duper close-up one though. So here's a super-duper close-up of a portal triad. There's three things you should be focusing on here. This big one is the biggest thing is gonna be the branch of the hepatic portal vein. Okay. Usually the next biggest thing is going to be the branch of the hepatic artery. You may see some smooth muscle in the wall, okay, so that's the branch there. And then this guy, which has like a simple cuboidal epithelium and fairly dark nuclei, that's the branch of the bile duct, all right? What are these other things over here? I don't know. It may have been like separation when they made the slide. I'm not even exactly sure, but those are the three things. Let me show you another one. Is that the one I want to show? Yeah. So here's another one. Again, the biggest one, this is going to be the branch of the hepatic portal vein. This one here that actually has a fair amount of smooth muscle in its wall, that's a branch of the hepatic artery. And then this one with, actually it almost looks like columnar shape here, but with these well-defined nuclei, that's going to be a branch of the bile duct. Anything else? Or was that it? That was it. Okay. That's it for this lab. We're going to do more when we do the fetal pig. We'll look at some digestive stuff, but that's it for